Okay, let's set the focus. Cody, nézd ide, ügyes vagy. Alright, now we can start. A few years ago I heard that Quentin Tarantino only shoots on film, and he even got into an argument with Roger Deakins, who switched to digital. And I didn't even know what the difference was. I only ever shot on digital. All I knew that analog cameras were super old and difficult to use, and expensive. Then on Instagram I started to see these old-timey looking photos, and they looked amazing. They looked scrappy and blurry and full of life and color, and so much better than my boring digital photos. So after 4 years of digital photography, I did a little research, bought a Canon EA1 and started shooting film. Here's what I got. Now I understood the difference, and I started looking for this difference in movies too. I already had my super nice Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K, and I knew it could achieve great things in color grading thanks to the B-roll footage. So I wanted to try to emulate this film look. I found some great tutorials and I could create a look that I was happy with. Then on YouTube I saw something new called Dehancer. And the results created with it looked closer to film than anything I ever saw before. Actually, I'm quite suspicious with plugins outside of Resolve. It seems like everybody tried to sell these things, and I even bought a few, but I was disappointed. But when I saw Dehancer, I immediately knew I had to try. The only thing was making me question if I really needed it was the price. I already spent too much on LUTs and plugins that I didn't actually use later. I got lucky, this company actually contacted me and they let me try Dehancer for free. And in return they asked an honest review about it, so here we go. I plan to write and shoot narrative short films. And eventually big films too, but so far I mostly shot travel videos. Last year I shot a travel video in Madeira that you can already see on my channel. So first I'm gonna show you a few examples of how that footage was color graded compared to how it looks with Dehancer. To this trip I only took one lens, the Zero-E anamorphic 24mm f2.8. Exactly because I wanted a very cinematic feeling for this video. And Madeira has so many epic locations it was easy to achieve. First let's see some scenes on the beach. The concept was to create a little story of the girls taking photos with this Polaroid camera. This is how it looks. And this is the note tree that I used. Like I said, tons of tutorials and they led me here. Notes for color space transform, a note for the highlights, a note for noise, and at the end a note for the grain and the glow. And actually a film LUT, as you can see. And this is what I achieved with Dehancer. I can show you the steps I used and then more examples too. I set up and learned how to use it from the tutorial on the Dehancer YouTube channel, made by Blame Westrop. There's a lot of settings to play with and I'm still learning, but let me show you where I got so far. First things first, you can select the camera that you shot with here. Thankfully it has the Pocket 4K camera too. So this already transformed the image completely. To choose the film can be overwhelming. I haven't tried at all this, to be honest. I only used the few that was mentioned in the tutorial. I tweaked the exposure a little bit here. Then went to the print section to get the biggest change in the image. I wanted to nail the exposure and the contrast first, that I can basically do right here. Then to give little changes to the image I use different ways. There's a dedicated color section also here. I heard that this is how they used to color grade the OG film footage, so it's pretty cool that we can emulate these settings here. For a very slight change, I changed the colors in the shadows and the highlights to get a little color separation. And what I really like is this color boost option. Sometimes when I choose the film and the print, I like the effect, but I would like to see more vivid colors, and this can do exactly that. So when I'm happy with the colors and the contrast and the exposure, then comes the fun part. Here at the bottom you can play with the fancy film effects, the film grain, halation, bloom. Here I was quite happy with the amount of the grain. Let's see without it. Yeah, it is super washed out. But with the grain it looks perfect. Let's see what the halation would do. I think for this I don't really need it. I like the cooler tones in the sky. And let's see the bloom. So the bloom gives a little effect around the subjects, but since we don't have a big sunlight on this picture, I think it would look more natural without the bloom on this one. And here further down you have this film breath, gate wave, overscan. I mean, you can play with this if you like, but for this image I didn't really want to use any of this stuff, but it's fun to play with this if you go for something like that. What I really love about Dehancer is that there are not too many sliders I have to use to achieve an amazing image. And it is way better than what I could do with my complicated Notary. Especially because I already wanted to do a film-like image. Dehancer just does it so much better and quicker. And it's so easy to have everything here in just one plugin, in one node. So here you can see the difference between my original edit that was already aiming for film emulation and the new Dehancer edit. I think my Notary edit is nice and colorful, and the lens gives this great cinematic look, but the real film feeling I couldn't really nail before. But Dehancer did it in a quicker and easier way, and I love it. And still from Madeira, I wanted to see if Dehancer can deal with images that has more highlight challenges. This is the famous fennel forest that has such a magical vibe. Here I really like to see this bloom effect. The bloom, you can really see it here. Again, I think my original edit was good, but this Dehancer film emulation is just something else. And one last scene from Madeira is this epic sunset. That was just so amazing to see. This zero anamorphic doesn't have a very strong lens flare effect, but if you shoot the sun you'll definitely see it. So this was the original, and this is Dehancer. I think this look is actually closer to what it looked like in real life. And this makes me think that I'll be able to use Dehancer not only if I want to go for an extreme film-like image, but also just for a more generally nice color grade. And it just makes my work so much easier and faster to have everything here in one place. I also have footage from Iceland. I have so many videos from here, I just let them rest in the box for a while. But recently I kinda figured out how I want to edit them into 4 videos and what music to use with them. But I haven't got to the color grading part yet, so let's look at a few shots and see what I could achieve with Dehancer. I won't get into every little detail, just wanna show you what film and print I chose and how the finished image looks. I actually had more lens options here. I had a spherical cinema lens, especially for micro four third cameras, the Mikey 25mm T2.2 and the Sigma 60mm f1.4. This Mikey 25mm is a 50mm equivalent on full frame, and this was perfect to capture the monumental Skogafoss waterfall. So I think Dehancer with this anamorphic lens again is just the perfect combination. Makes the scene look absolutely cinematic. And you can see I kinda just went for the natural colors here. Tweaked a little bit the colors in the shadows and the highlights, because the image originally was too much in the green side. but with these little tweaks I took it here that I think looks very natural. Let's see closer what the bloom does to this image. Yes, just a little extra that takes it to perfect. For this shot we visited the northern parts of Iceland. So this was the Godafoss waterfall, and my friend Bella had the wonderful idea to wear this beautiful white dress and run around in the freezing cold for some epic shots. I kinda just wanted to try how Dehancer gives the film look for these images, but make a sort of normal color grade later. But now that I see these videos, I can't imagine doing the color grade any other way. The other thing I wanted to see how Dehancer does with the drone footage. My friend Tommy has a Mavic Air 2S drone, and he shot some amazing videos with it. The Mavic Air is not in the camera list. Kinda just drag the plugin on it and it worked super nice. I have to tell you, for this footage we had to drive hours in bumpy F-roads, go through rivers, and actually at one point push out the car from the river where it was stuck. But to see this beautiful landscape, it was totally worth this crazy adventure. The other thing I was curious about how well Dehancer does with crazy highlights. You see, we shot these videos on the coast where we stayed in these beautiful wooden houses. And we have the sun in the frame too, so let's see if the film compression helps us in any way. It brought back the sky beautifully, but we still have the awesome contrast and colors too. So this was Dehancer with the Pocket 4K and the Mavic Air 2S footage. But this year we actually returned to Iceland and shot videos with the awesome Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K full frame. So let's see how the 6K full frame did with the Dehancer grade. There's this awesome trail to a natural hot river where you can go into the water for free. And our mission was to capture nice footage on the road and at the hot springs too. You see, this is what happens when you use a proper expensive cinema camera and a super professional plugin together. The true potential achieved. I'm very happy with these results. And to add a little bonus, I wanted to check how Dehancer does with the old little Pocket Cinema Camera OG. I bought this camera because sometimes I go on 5-6 hour hikes or sightseeing in a city, and I don't want to carry a full heavy cinema rig with me all day. So I just have this easy little camera in my hand and I can still capture very nice videos for memories. This is what happened in Porto on the Ponte Louis bridge at sunset, where I met this lovely Dutch girl who were taking photos in the night sunset light. And we shot some footage about her taking the photos. This was my original edit. And this is Dehancer. The sunset light and the metro and the bridge lights, they all look amazing with Dehancer. So my thoughts on Dehancer is that it's absolutely awesome. I can't wait to finish editing my Iceland videos and to use Dehancer to color grade them with. It fits my style perfectly and I would absolutely recommend everyone to try and see. I know the price can be a little scary, but if you'd like you can use this 10% discount code that they let me give you. And if you were wondering, the studio setup part of this video was also color graded with Dehancer. I hope you liked this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of Dehancer. Did you try it? Do you think about trying? Or if you have any questions. And I'll see you soon. Nagyon ügyes kis asszisztens vagy.